Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chat Channel. My name is Tim Hayden, and I'll be your host. Please remember, you can interact with us as the show is live. We have an awesome show for you today. Our guest is the talented Brett Chapin. You've seen him in Ryan Hansen Solves Crimes on TV, Saw III, General Hospital, Grey's Anatomy, and many, many more great shows. Welcome to the show, Brett.
Hey Tim, thanks for having me on.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a little colder than normal out here in Los Angeles, but I'm doing great.
Yeah, y'all's cold and my cold's two different things.
Yeah, I know. Our cold
I'm in
is
the
60.
Midwest. I'm in the Midwest. My cold is negatives.
Yeah, a little different story. I know we're not used to all this out here.
Well, y'all get some rain last week, I think it was, that y'all needed.
Yeah, we got some coming next week too, I think.
Good, good, good. Well, I guess I'll just get to it. Do you come from an acting family?
I do. My mom was an actress. She did a lot of theater and off Broadway type of things. Outside of that, I think that she's pretty much the only one from my immediate family that was interested in acting. But I definitely got the bug and was always encouraged to, be creative and try new things. And we were always watching movies and going to theater shows and things like that growing up.
Well, you grew up with four siblings. Did any of them show any interest in it at all?
My brother did a little bit. He did some singing, and actually, when I was, I guess I must have been 4, and he was 11. We did a talent show together. We sang John Denver's "Leaving on a Jet Plane," and we won second place. So, 4-year-old and 11-year-old singing duo. But he kind of went off, and he's doing other things now. So I think I'm the only one that really stuck with it.
Did you do drama in high school?
A little bit. I always had to choose between doing sports and doing drama, and a lot of time sports took precedence. But I was involved in the Thespian Society in high school, and also from in high school age, I went through the repertory and conservatory dramatic arts program at the Laguna Playhouse. I would do that after school a lot of times when sports weren't in session. So I got a really great training there as well, full scholarship. So I was really lucky.
Oh, that's cool. So when did you realize that acting was an avenue you wanted to take?
I think around the time I was 10 or 11 years old, I saw the film version of West Side Story, and I saw Tony and Maria up there doing their thing and singing and acting, and I said, "This is for me." I was also a big fan of soap operas growing up. You know, my mom was got me hooked on Young and the Restless, and I would watch that with her. And so I think seeing young actors up there being successful, playing parts and doing their thing definitely encouraged me to pursue that as well.
That's one of the things that I really, really like about soap operas is most of the time it's a generational show. You know, I was a kid, I watched it with my aunt, grandmother, mother, and I grew up watching them. And then as an adult, I watched them.
It's
I just
something you
think it's
can
really
bond
cool.
with your family members. It's great. And when you're
It really
homesick,
is.
it's something that you can get wrapped up in.
Oh, well, I remember several times knowing something was going to happen on a soap opera and had to be sick from school that day.
Yeah, it's funny how it coincides with that day of being sick.
Absolutely. I mean, well, back then, you had VCRs if you were lucky.
Yeah, but then you still had to set the timer if you weren't going to be there. It was a whole thing. So
And
yeah, I
hope
was the
that the power
only.
didn't go out.
Yeah, exactly. I was the only one in my family that knew how to set the VCR timer, so I was always in charge of doing that if we had to leave to go to an event or something.
Well, Lord, then you must have paid heck whenever you messed up or it didn't record.
Oh yeah, or the power went out, like you said. That was still my fault.
Yeah, because they don't have battery backups.
No, no, you either had to see it at the time, be there, or maybe record it if you were lucky. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like soap operas. I think you and I were talking about it last night. You know, I think they should come out with a platform with the old soaps, but everybody I've asked always gets the same answer from their people is they don't know where they are.
Yeah, they're hard to find. Um, I think I mean I think maybe Soap Opera Network might carry some of the old ones, or there might be some places on some of the streaming services to get some of the old ones, but I'm not sure specifically. I should know that.
Oh no, I'm talking about when they asked the the ABC or CBS about doing it. I've had actors, soap stars that's been on that has asked about that, and they get the same answer. We don't know where they are.
They're just kind of in the archives somewhere.
Right, they're just gone. They don't know who has them.
It's a
Well, you've done a
shame.
lot of. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say it's a shame because there's so many great performances out there that from the last what 60 years of soap operas that might or might not be seen again.
And if they don't do it soon, the generation that remembers them and would watch them, you know, they're getting older now. We're getting older, unfortunately. But you've done a lot
Yeah.
of theater. Do you have a favorite one you've done? A favorite play you've done?
Um, yeah, I've been really lucky to do a few of the shows on my bucket list. One that really sticks out was Little Shop of Horrors, playing Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors. That was a lot of fun. Um, that part is an interesting part because he's kind of a nerdy goofball, but then there's a little bit of a dark quality to him as the show goes on. So it was a lot of fun to do that show. I also got an opportunity to work on West Side Story. Got an opportunity to work in Rent, and I was the marketing chair at Theater Palisades for 10 years. So we did
Oh.
numerous, probably 60, 70 shows during that time there.
Did you have to pinch yourself on West Side Story? Because I remember earlier you said that was kind of what you were watching when you were like, "Yeah, I think that's what I want to do."
Oh man, when I got the phone call I was casting that, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face for 2 days. I was thrilled, and I made sure I called my family right away and let them know as well.
For sure, for
Hmm.
sure. I'm sure they were very excited.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I got to play Lieutenant Schrank, who's one of the two cops in there. It's kind of the heavy in the show, I guess you could say. And working with this really, really talented group of kids and talented director, it was a lot of fun doing that show.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. So, do you prefer theater over screen recorded shows?
Yeah, I mean it's a
Ask
hard
everybody that.
comparison. Yeah, it's kind of hard comparison to make because it's apples to oranges. They're such different mediums. If I had to pick one to work in for the rest of my life and I was forced to pick one, it would probably be theater because that's my background. That's where I come from, and that's my first true love. But film is definitely something I enjoy as well. It's just theater is a bit more of in the moment type of experience where the audience shares in the experience and you only take it with you for that time, whereas film and television is a photograph or a video of an experience. So it's just a bit of a different medium.
Well, I would say you're among good company because that's one question that I ask everybody that comes on the show, and so far everybody has said the same thing.
They all say theater?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I'm
because
not.
most of it is because they said they can feel the crowd, they can see the crowd's reaction, and that helps them react.
Yes, yes. And there's also, I think, there's a limited time frame with theater. You only have those 6 weeks or 12 weeks to work with those people, and then that's going to be it. Whereas a television show might go on for 6, 7, 8 years, so you have a lot of time to bond with people. During a theater production, you're a family for that time, and you only have those memories to make during that time. So it's a bit of a different process.
Scott Rice was on yesterday, and he said his favorite part of theater was the actor owns controls that part. Once you go on stage, nobody has anything to say with about how you or what you do. That's what
Yes,
he liked about it the most, was just the freedom, more freedom.
I agree with that. There's a quote by Sherry Renee Scott talking about how the audience lives in the moment with you in a show, and you all go through that moment and experience that time together, and it only really lives on in people's memories. And there is that creative freedom to be able to, you can't stop and say, okay, try that again, take two. You really
Right.
need to get it right the first time. So it's great. I enjoy it so much.
Well, you also produced, co-starred on La La Land Talk. I assume that you are a fan of the movie, or is that where that came from, or is it just you were interviewing people from LA?
No, I personally I think that La La Land stole it from us, but we
Oh,
were
okay. I didn't check dates. I should have done that. I didn't think to check that. Sorry.
yeah, that's okay. That's okay. No, I'm just kidding. That saying's been around for forever, but we came out 2010. I think they came out 2012. So technically,
Yes.
I don't know. La La Land might owe us a couple bucks. I don't know, but
Maybe.
yeah. But no, La La Land Talk was a talk show that I hosted from 2010 to 2015. The tagline was by Los Angeles artists about Los Angeles artists, and it was called La La Land because we mainly featured Los Angeles artists, and that's artists in every aspect of the word, from actors, musicians. We had a psychic on once. We had somebody from a pharmacy come on and give us a flu shot every year. Just any type of artist. If you were Los Angeles based, we wanted to speak to you. And we got an opportunity to speak to Spike Lee and Bill Pullman and Tracy Toms and Mackenzie Aston, and as well as lesser known artists as well. So it was a really fun 4 years.
I'll tell you, Seeger, I kind of knew, but I wanted you to explain it because it's still up, and I've watched several of the episodes. They're great. Y'all go into good detail, and y'all do great
Thank
with
you.
them. You might
Yeah.
consider bringing it back eventually.
Yeah, you never know. I have been reposting these last, we had about 200 episodes, and I've been reposting them lately, just to kind of give them a little bit more traction. I never felt like they got the exposure that they deserved when they were on. So I've been reposting them lately, and I'm working with a really talented tech person who's helping me with that. So we'll see. You never know. It could happen in the future. Right now, I'm working on a few other things though, so we'll see. Though I loved it. I had a great time.
Well, I will say I'm a fan of Grey's Anatomy, and I was watching it uh, when you happened to come on the show, and I was surprised. I didn't honestly didn't know you were going to be on it, and it just kind of shocked me. I was very thrilled that you were. What was that experience like?
Oh, that was so much fun. I was working with the great Rick Worthy on that. It was the season finale of season 10. There was a bombing in a shopping mall, and all the patients came to Gray Sloan Memorial. And Rick and I were police officers that were investigating the bombing. We were interviewing a suspect, and it was a really good learning experience with that episode. It was the season finale, and there was a bombing, so there was all kinds of makeup and effects and lighting, and
Not to
just
mention
being
your
able.
interaction with Ellen Pompeo. That was who you mostly interacted with as well, the star of the show.
Yes, yes. Ellen's wonderful. We had we bonded over chocolate peanut butter cups. There's a certain brand of chocolate peanut butter cups that we both like. But yeah, she's great, and she's been, oh my gosh, she's been doing it forever. So really good honor to work with her.
Well, they re-signed for this new season, and I saw a tweet from her. It was something like, "Well, I guess I'm going to be back again."
Yeah, yeah. You just can't keep that show down. It's what is it, 20 years now? It's going to be 21
Yes,
years.
Yes.
Maybe if not the longest running, one of the longest running dramas in the history of television.
I know it is
Real
the
honor to work on that
longest.
show.
I know it's the longest medical running show because they beat out ER a few years ago.
Did they beat out ER? Yeah.
Yes, ER had 15.
And Shonda Rhimes, I mean, she's everything from How to Get Away with Murder to, I mean, she's done so much great work.
Well, she should have named her company Shondaland that they called it in media originally because she has a huge empire and great shows.
Yes, yes. And I haven't met her, but from what I've heard, just a really easy sweetheart of a person to work with. Very professional, but very kind.
Well, I don't know when she'd have time to meet anybody as busy as she is. I mean, everything she
Yeah,
shoot, so many shows to keep up with. So, how
I
did
know.
General Hospital come about for you?
That was through the casting agency. I got the email. I was lucky enough to get an email, and I went in there and played Roger Barstow, who was the what we thought at the time was the record keeper for the Crichton County Clerk's Office. We found out a few months ago that he was working for Victor Cassadine this whole time, but yeah, that was a really great experience working with Brooke Kerr and Brianna Nicole Henry on that scene. Brianna, one of her last days on set. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
You played a dead body on it, didn't you?
I did. I did. Roger Barstow, unfortunately, did never got to speak a line on the show. He was dead when we found him. But I like to tell my friends I'm competing for the best soap opera body, but not six-pack abs cadaver. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, he's he's dead right now, as we know. He got knocked out and gassed by poisonous gas. You don't come back from that.
Right now. This is soap
Right now.
operas. This is soap
It's
operas.
true. It's true. You never know what can happen.
I've seen people come back for far worse. 50, 500 fall off a cliff, car crashing into the ocean,
Oh my gosh.
plunge, you know.
How many how many times has Freddy Krueger come back from the dead? I mean, it happens all the time.
It sure does. So playing a dead body, I mean, I know I couldn't do it at all because I moved too much. I couldn't sit still long enough. What was
You'd
that
laugh.
like? Yes.
Yeah. That was interesting. It's harder than it looks to keep your eyes from fluttering. It's harder than it looks to keep your fingers from even moving slightly. But it was something that I had to do. So I just kind of closed my eyes and tried to wipe my mind clean and just pretend I was asleep.
Because they didn't just do a quick shot at you. You were on for quite a while. So
Yeah,
time frame.
they
Did you do
held
it in one
on there
shoot?
for a while.
Did you do it all in one
Um,
shoot?
no, I think it was it was over one day, but I think it was maybe 3 or 4 takes. There was a part where Brianna had to reach behind me and grab my wallet, so they had to keep it on me during that time. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. Everybody on that show is very welcoming and kind and very, very genuine type of environment to work in.
I would have definitely jumped if somebody had touched me. If I'm trying to lay still, concentrate, yeah, that would have scared me.
Luckily, I knew it was coming, so it was it was a little bit easier.
Well, you're presently working on an Apple TV premiere of Mrs. American Pie, starring Ricky Martin, Kristen Wiig, Allison Janney, and I just learned today Miss Carol Burnett is going to be in it as well.
Yes. This show is so much fun. I'm having a blast working on it. This is a show coming out very soon. Probably they're talking maybe summer, fall 2023, starring Kristen Wiig, produced by Laura Dern. and starring Ricky Martin. Mindy Cohn's in it, like you said, and Carol Burnett's return to TV. Got to work a scene with her a couple of weeks ago, which was just a phenomenal experience. As if I was floating above myself. Just wonderful to work with her. And the show's funny. It's based on a book by Juliette McDaniel called Mr. and Mrs. American Pie, and it's based around Kristen Wiig's character who falls into Key West high society from being very much not high society, and all the hijinks and everything that ensues along with that. But yeah, I'm just having a great time working on it. Cannot wait to finish. I think we should be wrapped sometime in December. So getting ready to finish up the season here. We've got 10 episodes that we're filming, and can't wait till it comes out.
I can't either, because I've said it a couple of times on the show. Carol Burnett is like the top person who I really love to have on. Love everybody that I have on. Don't get me wrong. She's just a classic. I mean,
she is a dream guest for any host. Absolutely. Just the experiences that she's had and the amount of work that she's done. And you know, I'm still waiting for Saturday Night Live to ask her to host. I want to see that happen sometime soon.
You know, I didn't think about that. They really should. They had Betty White do it. I don't see why Carol Burnett shouldn't.
It's Carol's time.
Right. It should be. Maybe we should talk to him about that.
I saw a tweet or something on Instagram that they wrote that said, "Who do you want to host the show?" And so many people wrote Carol Burnett, Carol Burnett, Carol Burnett. She would be a fantastic host.
Well, I hope Lauren Michaels pays attention to that, because, God, I mean, she had a show on for years doing what they do.
She was Saturday Night Live before Saturday Night Live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you keep a straight face on a set like that? I mean, Carol Burnett, Mindy Cohen. I mean, Allison Janney, Kristen Wiig.
Ricky is the funniest one on set. I gotta tell you.
Really?
You would think he's not even a comedian, but he's just such an outgoing guy and such a warm personality. Hard to keep a straight face on that set for sure. But you know, once the camera starts rolling, if you don't keep a straight face, somebody's going to yell at you. So you got to kind of do what you need to do. But we're having a lot of fun on that set, and I'm learning a lot. Absolutely. Yes, I know. I remember at one point when Carol was on set, just looking at Kristen, I said, "Kristen, I'm just trying to stay calm right now. Look what's happening here." And she's like, that's all of us. We're all trying to stay calm. It's just, I mean, pretty great experience having her there with us.
So I'm not alone in having fan out moments then, huh?
No, we were all, you had 300 people doing fan out moments on that set that day. Believe me. Amazing.
I do my best on the show to keep it toned down, but I mean, talking with all of you fabulous actors, it's just, I mean, how can you not?
I was trying to stay calm with her. I mean, what she must put up with on a daily basis with people coming up to her all the time. But she was very gracious and smiling and talking to everyone and being very sweet. There was not an air of diva in her at all. So that was very refreshing.
That either. I wouldn't think that of her either. I know
she's not that type.
I know Lucille Ball. She was great, but she was hard to work with. I've heard
that.
She wasn't a diva, but she was just a perfectionist. She wanted things her way, which is great. I mean, she put out great stuff. I love Lucy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I think you can get a lot more done by maybe not being that way, maybe being a little less that way. And who am I to tell Lucille Ball how she should be? But
well, too, look,
I think you tend to get a reputation sometimes.
She was a woman in a man's world at that time too, though, so she kind of had to be, I would think.
That's true too. Yeah, who was going to listen to a man at that time, or excuse me, a woman at that time? So
Exactly.
yeah,
So you play a lot of detectives or law legal parts. Do you like playing the legal parts? Do you think it's just
yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just my look or something. It's funny. Even in my regular life, people think I'm a cop all the time. I always get asked that question. So it must work to how I'm cast. I do enjoy it. Anytime I have an opportunity to be on set, no matter what it is, I take that and learn from it as much as possible and relish that moment because as actors, we do not always get that opportunity. So I try to enjoy it anytime I get one of those opportunities.
well? I mean, that's one of the best roles to be in. I mean, a doctor, something in the legal. Those are basically the main shows that are on now. The main characters. I mean, it's Chicago Med, Chicago PD,
Yes.
ER. There's 911. There's a ton of them.
Are
Medical,
you listening,
legal,
casting directors? Are you listening? Yes. No.
and
It's
Brett
true.
would be perfect for the part too.
I'd be perfect. Your lips to their ears, Tim.
I,
No,
I
but
hope they listen. I hope some. I really do. Everybody I've had on the show so far is phenomenal, and I would love to see every one of you that's not on screen be back on screen. I know you are on screen, but some of the others aren't that I've had on because they are phenomenal. I mean, you're great actors, and
I appreciate it. I think the goal for most actors is just sort of to have a regular gig and series regular or recurring or contract or whatever. That's definitely the goal for all of us.
getting those uh, main roles are hard anymore. They like to try to play it with everybody being a recurring role now. Even if you're a
Yeah,
regular, they're still considered a recurring. I don't
it's
understand that.
contracts have changed. Definitely contracts have changed over the last 20 years and yeah, things run differently. Also, the seasons. Shows used to be 13 episode seasons. Now you see 28 episode seasons is nothing.
Well, I mean, I'm glad to see they're going back to that because they did stop doing the 24, 28 seasons. I think ER, Dallas, they were the ones that had and they played, it seemed like all year long, just about the
Yes, you
seasons,
didn't have to wait for the summer and the reruns.
except for Who Shot JR. I remember that one.
Oh man, they dragged that out for about a year and a half, I think.
Yes, they did. So, do you have any sights set on any particular show or movie that you would just love to be a part of? Because again, I'm hoping people are watching.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do something, and obviously I'm going to leave this up to the amazingly talented writers and amazingly talented casting directors of the show, but I would love to do something more on General Hospital. Obviously, Alaska Daily is a great show that's come out on ABC lately with Hilary Swank. I would love to work on that as well.
That one's next on my list.
Yeah, yeah, you'll really love that one. And there are only a few episodes in now, so you can catch up pretty quickly.
I
Cool.
just got almost done with Transplant. Almost caught up to that one. I just got into it.
Oh, Transplant. I haven't seen that one. I got to check that one out.
Well, in my mind, the reason I didn't watch it at first is I was thinking heart transplant, kidney transplant. I mean, it is a medical show, but it's not about that. It's about a Syrian refugee who was a doctor who
Oh,
who came to Canada. It takes place in Canada, and he can't get his documentation. And yeah, he's working in a hospital. It's a very good show. It's kind of like he transplanted there, is what the title means, I believe.
oh, okay. That makes more sense. Because I'm like, if it's about transplant, but it's not about heart transplants, what's the? Okay, so he moved.
Right, he had to because he was a prisoner at one time, and because doctors that were helping the offenders were getting jailed and everything, so he had to. It's
Ooh,
really good. There are
that sounds
some
good.
transplants, but that's not what it's based on, like I had thought.
Gotcha. Transplanted in space instead of
Right.
medically. That sounds
They
good.
do
I
a
gotta
really
check it
good.
out.
It is a really good show. Is there
Yeah.
someone specific that you would just love to work with? Like mine's Carol Burnett, of course.
Is this whew. Of anybody? You're saying any
Anybody,
actors? So anybody.
anybody.
Um,
Somebody told me
I'm
Marlon Brando.
yeah. I would love to work with Al Pacino. He's my favorite. He's my hero. I always had this list of top five actors. It was Pacino, De Niro, Paul Newman, Ray Liotta, and then there was an actor from The Young and the Restless that I really like named Stephen Gregory. But those were my top five.
Well, I just had Scott on yesterday, Scott Bryce, who was with one of those shows you said, and then I had Michael Venetia on, who's worked with Al Pacino, and
Oh,
he was a
he is
stand-in for
lucky.
Stacy Keach
Wow.
originally. Michael Genovese, that's it. I couldn't say his last name right. So,
Having the opportunity to work with Pacino even for a day is got to be like a masterclass.
well, the reason I brought that up is I want you to come back and be able to tell me who you got to work with that you wanted to,
Ah,
because it's
well,
going to happen. It'll happen.
I love that idea. I've been pretty lucky lately working with Kristen Wiig and Ricky Martin and Mindy Cohn and Josh Lucas, all those people. So it's been beyond my wildest dreams already. I've been lucky.
And it's funny because every one of those people you just mentioned, I've already sent requests to be on the show before I even knew they were in that show.
Oh yeah. Well, tell them Brett Chapin said it's a great place to be.
Hey, I'm
They
going
have
to
no idea
try.
who I am. Yeah, I would love to see them on the show.
How did you survive during this pandemic? I mean, that was crazy. 3 years.
Yeah, very, very, very carefully. Um, well, I think the first couple of months was a lot of eating and feeling sorry for myself and worrying, just like we all were. Um, and then I think right around July, I said, "This is getting ridiculous. I need to get out of the house and do something." And so the gym down the street from my house had opened up outside. They were doing it just in the parking lot.
Right.
So I joined up with them. I started running and doing all that. And so that was a way to sort of take me out of what was going on with the pandemic and everything. I also got very, very addicted to TikTok. I made that my full 8 hour a day job. And I managed to rack up 97,000 amazing followers that follow me and are engaged, are wonderful. And right now, I'm in the midst of going back to the physical fitness thing. I'm in the midst of doing 1,000 mile journey, putting in 1,000 miles on the treadmill in 2022.
Wow. Are you close? You've only got a couple
Yeah,
months.
yeah, I know. As of this morning, I'm at 675. So I've still got a ways to go. But I
I
haven't.
couldn't. I couldn't do that.
I bet you could if you had to. I don't know. It's I've got it mapped out, and if I do 5 miles a day between now and the end of the year, I can finish. And it's going to take some major commitment and maybe a few days of 10 miles a day. But now that I'm at 675, I kind of feel like if I don't finish now, I'm going to regret it the rest of my life. So I might as well just
Yes.
really run this last couple months and finish up.
It'll haunt you. It will haunt you in that close.
Yeah, I would
Uh,
think so.
so, what do you think of the transfer that they did with as far as auditions? Now, since the pandemic, they went to video mostly, whereas it used to be all in person.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of video auditions, if I'm being real honest. I know that that's the way things are being done now, and it's through necessity. Um, but I think you just get a better sense of the person, and I think that I personally audition better when I'm in the room with people and being able to give a little bit of my personality, banter back and forth, that type of thing. I think that that gives somebody who is auditioning me a better chance of, or a better view of who I am, rather than just what I can show on a videotape. Actors have had to sort of learn all these skills of videography and editing and lighting and sound and microphones, and it's things that I never really thought that I would have to learn as an actor, and it's great. They're great skills to have, but I'm looking forward to a time, and I think it will come back, where in-person auditions are happening more often. I don't think it will ever be back to 100% again in person, but I think they're going to start to happen a little more often right now, and I'm looking forward to that time.
I feel like that you lose something about it at watching a tape, whereas
Hmm.
watching, like you said, doing stage work, you get a feel. You can show, you feel the emotion in the room, or you can share the emotion. I think, and I think just I wouldn't be a fan of the video either.
No, no. I mean, I've talked to actors who say they like it better because it's less pressure. I've talked to actors who feel the way I do about it. But the overwhelming consensus seems to be we prefer the in-person auditions. There is you can't show your personality through a video screen as well as you can in person.
Right. So, what do you like to do during your free time?
Free time. I've been doing this running thing. I'm really, really concentrated on that, and
I
trying
guess
to
that
log
takes
this
up.
1,000 miles.
I guess that does take a big chunk of free time.
Yes, yes. I've been trying to get some of the other soap opera actors from General Hospital to run my last few miles with me. So we'll see if that happens.
Just keep tagging them.
Yeah,
Tag them.
I know,
Tag
right?
them.
I know. I've even bugged a couple of them personally. So no solid commitments yet. So we'll see.
So, how do you juggle work and free time?
What's free time? No, I actually I just got back from Florida. I went to see my sister get married, and I was able to give her away. And I just took that time and shut off my email. And well, I didn't shut off my email, but I didn't look at my email. I didn't really look at social media. That was family time, and I just devoted it toward family time. There was a couple of things I had to do during that time, but for the most part, I just wanted to make sure it was about being with my family and spending that time with them. So I think the most important thing is to not work during your off hours, and to put that cell phone down, and just, especially if you have kids and things like that, you gotta make that your number one priority.
Yes, being present, I think, is a big thing.
Yes, yes, and that goes for life too. I think that we underestimate the value of being present. That's something that the pandemic, I think, taught us. At least it did for me. Is it gave me a sort of an opportunity to slow down a little bit and take stock of where I was in life, and take stock of what I wanted to improve in my life, and really live in those present moments, because none of us had to be anywhere. None of us had to be at work or school, or anything. So I think we were sort of forced to be present. And in that way, the pandemic was helpful.
Oh, it helped my family because we're spread out all over. And at the start of the pandemic, we started doing a weekly Zoom, and we still do it. If
Oh,
you're
that's
able to come
nice.
on, we do it, and it brought us a lot closer. It really had. It helped a lot.
Yeah, I think it did that for a lot of families. That's great.
Well, Brett, I appreciate you being here. Everyone, please watch out for Miss American Pie on Apple TV in 2023. Thanks for chatting with us, Brett. If you want to hang out backstage for just a moment, I'll be right back there.
Okay, thanks so much, Tim. Thanks for having me on.
You have a great. I'd like to thank Brett for being here today and talking with us. I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Necrotizing Fasciitis Foundation. To learn more about necrotizing fasciitis, visit www.necfasc.org. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great upcoming episodes. And like always, please be kind to one another. Have a great day.